Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's happening? What's crackling? What it do? What's good, y'all? It's your girl KB. You know what I do and you know why I do it. It is Monday morning. It's December 29th and it is 2:27 in the AM. It's been a minute since I talked with y'all. I think the last time I talked to you was on the 23rd. So it's been almost a week. I think that's right. I may have recorded on the day after Christmas because I was in my office. I'm not even sure now. There was so much going on. Um, my sister was getting ready to leave the country. She loves Italy, so I'm glad she had the opportunity to get away. It's been postponed so many times since my mom passed. Um, she used to go every 6 months. And then my mom got ill. We were taking turns providing in-home hospice. And then my mom passed, and there's this period of mourning, grief, and depression. And I don't think we're still quite over it. You never get over losing your mom. I need to say that first and foremost. But in saying that, the holidays are just tough. The holidays are just frustrating for me as well because there's some levels of just empty, just transactional giving. I think we've gotten away from just a sense of family. And the other piece of this is that, you find out when the matriarch passes the glue, you find out, who family really is and what their connections to you are. It's like I need to be real and truthful about that. And, I had to check a family dynamic like 2 Christmases in a row. And it's an unpopular position, but it also sets a boundary. And some of you know what I'm talking about. So I had to assume that position 2 Christmases in a row. And then I kind of broke up a family dynamic that was not received well, but at this point, this stage in my life, this age in my life, I don't even care, And the dynamic I'm talking about is, letting some time go by and acting like that's an apology. And I know many of you know what I'm talking about. I'm not good on that. I also had a very interesting conversation with an individual that at some point faulted me. And it wasn't an out loud, hey, I don't know if I agree with this, or I don't know. Their position was, that's you and this person's dynamic. I'm going to stay friends with you both. I wasn't asking the individual to choose sides, but that was their statement. So that let me know, where they were coming from. And I just let, time tell the tide, if you will. And now this particular individual is on the receiving end on what I received and why I set a boundary. And now they want to talk about it. And it's like, but you didn't want to choose sides, and I didn't ask you to choose sides. I just wanted you to recognize what I was telling you. And now here you are, and now you want to talk about it. And they fail to realize that I mean what I say. You've heard me say I'm surgical with the truth. I mean what I say. And I have no problem standing flat-footed on what I say. So when they decided that they weren't going to choose sides, that was their statement again. I didn't ask them to. But they basically dismissed what I was telling them. Hey, you can still be friends. I don't have a problem. That's your relationship with this person, right? But I'm telling you what I see. And for me, I don't tolerate dysfunctional peace or dysfunctional truce, or, you'll have conversation when you're not in your feelings, or what kind of mood you're in today. I don't do all that. If you're in a bad mood, tell me, hey, I'm grumpy and I just, hey, I just need some space today. I won't bother you. Hey, that bothers me when you joke like that. I won't bother you. See, I can get with all that. Use your words. Anywho, this person was on the receiving end and they wanted to have a conversation on Friday about how they were on the receiving end. Yeah, they were on the receiving end where they didn't even have a name. They became that person over there. They became a thought. And it's like, I wanted to say so bad. I tried to told you, but I didn't. I just let that person express themselves. Some things you don't have to wallow in or experience to know that it's not good for you. Like, you can tell me a snake is not poisonous, but for me, it's still a snake. And there's some characteristics and some nature that goes with that snake. So I'm not going to mess with it. But that was interesting. I've had a lot of interesting experiences in the few days of silence. I'm reading a couple of books. I'm rereading a couple of books. I was going to say I'm reading them over again, but I'm rereading a couple of books. One is White Fragility. And if you notice, I've been posting a lot about that because there's been an uptick in, I want to say, my seeing and hearing privilege and people not acknowledging that or not calling that out. And again, I don't do dysfunctional peace and truce, and we all have an obligation. And when we see and hear racist behavior, I don't care if it's the norm. You need to call it out. And the battle cry, and I've heard this said about me, the battle cry of some deeply ingrained garbage is this person is being divisive, or the term reverse racism. And it sounds like a convincing argument, but, and I'm going to say this, and you're going to hear it a lot going into 2026, you wouldn't be concerned about calling me a racist if you weren't comfortable with the racism. That part. So I need to put that out there. There's a lot changing in my focus and my dynamic and in my speech as I go into 2026, and you guys need to be aware of this, because I don't want to hear, I thought you were supposed to be. I'm telling you ahead of time. This is my focus. As the church folks say, this is my story. This is my song. And I'm going to get into something about conversation I had with my sister about Christianity in a few ticks. Let me wrap this video up. Again, gracious good morning to you. And here we go with some KB stuff.